Help out the Dr.Wily channel by clicking the sponsor button below. This way you can financially support us and get some cool perks in the process. Now with Super Mario Maker 2 on the way, we thought it would be fun to look at the enemies we would like to see from Super Mario 3D World in this new game. And yes, I'm saying we, because this time my good friends from Commonwealth Realm will be joining us. So let's find out which enemies from that game could fit well in this new 2D side-scroller level builder. Number 5.
Now to start this video off, we will look at one of the weirdest looking enemies seen in the 3D Wii U Tidal, rammerheads, who only appeared in 3 levels: Rammerhead Reef, Captain Toad Makes a Splash, and Pipeline Boom Lagoon. It's a hammerhead shark-like fish with a wide, spiked, roll-shaped snout. They come in 2 sizes. The big ones, which are common, while the small ones are rare. Now they can perform some different maneuvers as well, like swimming a predetermined pattern, going around stones, and others jump out of the water. Now in the 3D games, they are a big threat no matter if you go left or right. So how could that work in 2D? Well, he has a gigantic head that he can use to hit you with, and that works especially well if you give it the option to do a twist. Just imagine, you're swimming through a passage and one of these things approaches you, and every now and then it will do a spin, which would take up the entire passage. Another thing it could do is switch between swimming straight and sideways, with the first giving the player the option to pass and the other blocking the player from continuing. This can even be used for when he jumps out of the water, making it extremely dangerous in that scenario. This way it can form a real threat in 2D games, which also creates an interesting and effective strategy for the enemy. This would also make underwater levels more interesting than they normally are, so let's hope it will be seen in the end.
Number 4. Now our next enemy could form a gigantic threat to our heroes and probably reminds them a little bit of a similar enemy. The Splurges, an uncommon enemy that looks like a large orange fireball with a purple mask around its eyes, quite similar to Fry Guy's eyes and a large grin. They first appear in Brawler Blockade is Back, and after that they usually appear in levels with lava. They pop out and roll towards the players, however they can be pushed back into the lava using projectiles or by hitting them. They also leave a trail of lava that damages players, so even when you push them back, there is still a threat. Now these enemies could easily work in 2D and would be a nice surprise for players when going through the level. You can just place it in a bit of lava or even something less obvious like a question mark box, and as soon as someone triggers it, they will pop out and follow you, leaving a small lava trail just like in a 3D game. It will create an effect that's a little bit similar to the Angry Sun from Super Mario Bros. 3, but this time on the ground. So we think that adding this one could lead to some interesting level design that some might have a little bit of trouble with. Number 3.
So far we have covered 2 of the major elements, water and fire, so you know what that means. Something sky and nature themed to make it a full circle, which will be the Flopters, who are flying bug-like enemies. They have a bee-like body and 4 wings, and attack by ramming into you. Now, they can be defeated by any attack and are usually found in groups and fly at a high altitude. These would have no problem functioning in a 2D side-scroller and might even function better in that setting. When they're in the air and they slowly come down, they're quite a big threat for you since you can't go around them. However, if you need to jump in order to get past them because of another obstacle, then it can be hard to pull that off without getting hit. The helicopter wings will make it even harder since they cover quite a big area, and in groups this is even worse. This makes it a great enemy to put in such a game, and if it will appear in Super Mario Maker 2, then we will find out if it works even better than it ever did in the 3D title.
Number 2. Now another quite weird but certainly interesting enemy seen in this 3D game is the Brawlers, which are normal enemies that roll around and chase you similar to Splurges. But here, there's more to them. They appear to be boulders with eyes and yellow arms and are only found in lava-filled levels. Rather than being visible at all times, Brawlers hide underground until they are approached, at which point they will slowly emerge from the ground. Then they just start rolling, and as soon as you jump on them, they're taken out. However, when they are hit by an attack, they temporarily become common boulders with no eyes or arms. And now they can be picked up and carried by the player, who can just toss them around and throw them wherever they want. This can be used to create extremely interesting scenarios and is especially handy when trying to create puzzles. We can even see this in Super Mario 3D World, where in a section of the Mystery House Marathon, they must be placed onto switches to keep them simultaneously pressed, granting a green star. So giving players access to such an enemy in Super Mario Maker 2 would be a tremendously insane, great idea. With it, you can create some interesting scenarios. For example, a level where you have to toss them from high up to a button below, opening the way. Almost none of the enemies found in the Super Mario Maker games have an effect like this, while it would give the level makers a lot of options. So, this is kind of a no-brainer. Number 1.
Alright, what could our number 1 be? Well, it's a gigantic being with incredible strength that can finally function in a Super Mario Maker game thanks to new added features. Charvaargs, a big larva serpent-like being that will jump out of the lava in order to attack. If a character touches them, a life is lost regardless of the character's form, and they cannot be defeated by any method. But when you look at them in Super Mario 3D World, you will be disappointed for sure. Mostly because of one reason. Most of them only show up when the players enter a clear pipe for aesthetic purposes. And while we agree that it looks cool, they could have used them more. But with Super Mario Maker 2 coming soon, it could be the perfect game to give them a more interesting role when it comes to game design.
They could play a role similar to the dragon eels, which are sea serpents that swim around forming a hazard. This lava version could have a similar role, but instead of having them go around constantly, it could tie into the new enemy path feature, basically allowing the enemy to follow a certain path when jumping out of the lava, giving the builder of the level a set length so it can't go forever, and it has to end up in the lava again. This could spice up the lava levels a bit, and would create a huge and quite impressive threat for the player trying to beat the level with one or multiple in it. So let's hope we might one day see this beautiful being in a Super Mario Maker game, either the upcoming one or the possible third entry in the series. And once again, we want to thank Timer or Dr.Wily for letting us join this video. We made a collaboration also on our channels where we did the 5 best Super Mario Maker 2 changes, which you can go and check out. And of course, make sure to subscribe to Dr.Wily and press that shiny notification bell to not miss any of his video. Thanks for watching, and check one of these 2 videos as well.